All right, all right, all right. Long time no see. Long time no see. Okay, I did mention, and this is kind of the time of the year. If there's ever a time of the year where you just decide, hey, let's just go live again. Let's do it when there's something that matters. Obviously, if Giannis goes down or something like that, and that trade happens, we'll certainly go live again. This one is a little bit more intriguing for me. And I'm sure there's probably a lot of Laker fans, NBA fans that are watching Anthony Davis get traded again. Not going to go on very long, but I did want to give my thoughts on the actual trade. He's traded to the Washington Wizards. And I want to, two things I really want to do here. We'll talk about the actual trade. Obviously, I'm not going to sit here and break it down. This is what's going to happen to the Wizards, and let's look at the Wizards' future. For me, it's more we are 1 year away from one of the worst trades in NBA history that happened. And it literally took 1 year and 3 days for Anthony Davis to get traded again, and he's going to the Washington Wizards. So let's spend a little time on this. The tweet just came out. Shams broke the news here in the last, it couldn't have been more than 15, 20 minutes ago, maybe 20 minutes ago now. No, about a half hour. Half hour ago, Shams broke the news. Let's look at this tweet together. And then, I think there's a lot of Laker fans probably give their opinion. If you're somebody that is just scrolling right now on YouTube and you see me going live and you're an NBA fan and just want to give your opinion, feel free to do so as well. So thank you for being here. Let's read this together. Breaking news. The Dallas Mavericks are trading 10-time NBA All-Star Anthony Davis, Jaden Hardy, D'Angelo Russell. Oh, D'Lo always finding his way into another deal. And Dante Exum to the Washington Wizards for Chris Middleton, AJ Johnson, Malachi Branham, Marvin Bagley III. Damn, I forgot about Marvin Bagley III, so it's good to see his name pop up. 2 first-round picks and 3 second-rounders, sources tell ESPN. So the Washington Wizards now obviously trying to make, I guess, some strides for next season. Obviously, this year doesn't mean anything if they're smart enough and wise enough. Keep losing as many games as you can. Try to get a draft pick. And they're going to try to be relevant moving forward. The Dallas Mavericks are, and I'm going to look at something here from Shams because I know there were a couple other tweets that came out after. Let me just, I want to play this here for everybody so you guys can take a look at this. I'm going to share my screen with everybody. Let's see how I could do this. Let's go Shams right here. Let me play this for everybody. Let Shams kind of break.
Go to the day Anthony Davis came to Dallas and Luka Doncic went to the Lakers, and now AD is on the move again. Shams, what can you tell us?
Hannah, this is a trade deadline week stunner. Anthony Davis, the 10-time NBA All-Star, has been traded to the Washington Wizards. So the Wizards are acquiring a future Hall of Fame big man. The Mavericks are getting back some players, a couple of young players, but 2 first-round draft picks and 3 second-round picks. But let's look at AD going to the Wizards now. He joins Trae Young, who they just acquired, the multi-time All-Star, formerly the face of the franchise of the Hawks. But Alex Sarr, Keyshawn George, Trey Johnson, Bilal Coulibaly, Bub Carrington, they've been building the last few years. But clearly, the deconstruction phase in Washington is over. They're turning the page after this season on being competitive around that young core that they developed. And now they have 2 anchors of that in Trae Young and Anthony Davis. You think about the pick and roll presence that AD and Trae Young will have together, and defensively, Alex Sarr and AD manning the middle. But clearly for the Mavericks, 1 year ago, they traded.
This is the part that I only really care about, if I'm being honest with you, is the Mavs portion of this. We'll see what happens with the Washington Wizards. I'm not going to sit here and try to tell it, oh my God, watch out. Anthony Davis and Trae Young are connecting together. First off, the question with Anthony Davis is always going to be, is this man healthy? That's it. Is he healthy? Yes or no? Maybe there's some potential here, but for someone like myself who has kind of watched this last year unfold, you cannot sit here and tell me that anybody's got real confidence in Anthony Davis coming back and just being healthy consistently. I don't like saying that. I mean, I'm a big fan of Anthony Davis. Obviously, Anthony Davis was a great player for the Lakers for a number of years. I'm sure there's probably a lot of Pelicans fans that don't like him, or Dallas Mavericks fans are like, what the hell did we trade him for? Why the hell did we end up with Anthony Davis? For the Wizards, it may work. We'll have to wait and see. But obviously, at the end of the day, the only thing you associate Anthony Davis with, unfortunately, is injuries. That's it. I mean, that's if I say Anthony Davis, one of the first things that comes to your mind should be, is he healthy? Is he playing? Is he injured? How many games has he played in a row? And this was the same thing when he was a Los Angeles Laker. Let's hear the rest of this because they're starting to kind of talk a little bit about the Mav side of it, which I want to get into.
Traded away Luka Doncic, the face of that franchise. No one ever thought he'd be traded. There was going to be a statue of him one day, but he got traded for AD. It just did not work out. A slew of injuries. But the Mavericks, by making this trade, they've essentially cut their losses here. They've cut ties here, and they're bringing in significant financial relief. They're getting out of the aprons. They're getting out of the tax. They're getting some draft flexibility that now all combines to allow them to properly build this team around Cooper Flagg. He's the face of this franchise, the face of this organization moving forward, and that's what they intend to do. And one more note, Hannah, on the Wizards. They made a few trades here. Bradley Beal and Kyle Kuzma the last few years. That has now turned into Trae Young, Anthony Davis, and 5 pick swaps.
All right, stop it right there. Again, the big news, like I said, and no need for me to share my screen anymore. I'll talk just a little bit about my thoughts here. I'll start looking at some of the comments in a second as well. The reason why this is big news is not because Anthony Davis got traded. It's not big news because Trae Young and Anthony Davis are now on the same team again. It's big news because we were just talking about Lakers had a game against the Knicks on Sunday. That was the 1-year anniversary of the trade. And over the course of that 1 year, everything obviously changed for the Dallas Mavericks. So Nico Harrison gone. They fired him. Anthony Davis was really kind of the face of the piece that technically there were 2 faces that were part of that trade that brought Luka Doncic to the Lakers. It was Anthony Davis and it was Nico Harrison. Those were the 2 faces that represented the Dallas Mavericks. I had a guest on about a week ago when the Lakers were going to play the Mavericks in Dallas, and talking to him about covers the Dallas Mavericks, probably on live right now, does the Dallas Sports, part of that All City network. And he was telling me that, yeah, you know, the nobody's happy about the situation. Nothing's really changed all that much. The fact that they got rid of Nico Harrison had a lot to do with them. They were going to basically fire Nico Harrison until it actually happened, and it did. And then this is the final domino where the Dallas Mavericks can actually move on and say to themselves, all right, this is life after the Luka Doncic trade. The Dallas Mavericks had a 1.8% chance of grabbing Cooper Flagg or the number 1 pick, and they got it. I've said this before on many of my shows that I believe now in every conspiracy theory because the Lakers got Luka and then the Mavs got Cooper Flagg. This puts a stamp to the end of that trade for the Dallas Mavericks, and they still have to eventually watch the Lakers and see what Luka does, and we'll see if the Lakers are able to pair up another superstar with Luka. Will Luka ever win a championship with the Lakers? They're going to still have to watch that portion of it, but at least they can move on because they have Cooper Flagg. But it's just the trade just has not stopped shocking everybody. It shocked everybody when it happened back on February 1st, 2025. I was actually live at the time doing a show because the Lakers had just played the Knicks at the Madison Square Garden. It was a big win. AD didn't play in that game. Max Christie was excellent. And since that moment that trade was announced, no one believed Shams. It's like, what the hell are you talking about? Oh my God, this might be the worst trade in NBA history. Everybody thought Shams was hacked. And then it was, Nico, what's your justification for this? It's like, well, you know, defense wins championships. Then Anthony Davis gets injured. Then Kyrie gets injured. And it just kind of has continued to be this snowball. You could kind of finally close that chapter for that trade because not only is Luka Doncic doing what he's doing, one of the best players in the world, top 5 in the NBA, wherever you want to put him. I'm not telling you that he's perfect, and we'll see what the Lakers end up doing with Luka in the future. But that trade is now officially over. It's officially over because Anthony Davis is getting traded. They didn't even spend, just under or just over 1 full year with Anthony Davis. Played 29 games in total for the Dallas Mavericks, and that page is being churned. So we've had a couple interesting days around the NBA, and this is why the NBA is king when it comes to NBA trade deadline and free agency and everybody just reacting over social and everything else. We had the Jaren Jackson Jr. Wow, everybody's thinking Ja Morant's going to go. You had the kind of breaking news. James Harden wants out, and the next thing you know, he's traded for Darius Garland. A couple other small trades as well, but this is the next big one. It actually all started with Trae Young. Trae Young getting traded from the Hawks to the Wizards, and now you add Anthony Davis to the Wizards as well. If you're a Wizards fan and you want me to break down what this means for the Wizards, I ask you to go somewhere else because I don't think I'm going to be able to do that. And like I said, there's certain players I have confidence in. It's very, very difficult for me to look at Anthony Davis and say, oh, AD is going to make a big difference. Problem with AD, he can't stay on the floor. 1 year has passed since that trade. He's played 29 games. That's the issue with Anthony Davis. It's not that he's not skilled. It's not that he's one of the best big men when he's healthy, one of the best two-way players in the league. He's never on the floor. That's the problem. So, again, I'm not going to break this down from a Wizards perspective, but just crazy to think that within 1 year span, Luka's thriving with the Lakers, NBA, what was he, Western Conference Player of the Month. Not that that means anything, but just Luka's a baller, and nobody thinks that Luka's not going to get any better. Lakers got to put the right team around him. Where on the other side, the Dallas Mavericks have 100% pulled the plug and have decided AD's got to go too. Which, by the way, I don't know if I completely disagree with what the Mavs are doing. I mean, I'd be shopping Kyrie Irving. I'd be shopping any assets that you have that are old and you think are part of the old regime with Nico Harrison. Everybody else, Cooper Flagg and obviously Max Christie, you're keeping some of these young players, but everybody else after that, I don't really know if there's much of a reason to keep some of those players. All right, let me look at some of the comments. I'm kind of curious to see what people think and get their opinion and their thoughts of this trade going down. Again, my intention is not to go live. It's definitely not to go live after every trade goes down. But this one's a little bit of like, oh my gosh, here they're at it again. The Dallas Mavericks have to trade Anthony Davis in order to just completely turn the page and call it a day. All right, let's see what we have here. All right, this is a breakdown of every other team making deals and the Lakers just sitting there. I had a really good conversation. If you guys missed this, the show this morning, I had Eric Pincus on a Bleacher Report, and we were talking, all right, if they don't make a move, what does that say? The report from Mark Stein saying yesterday, if the Lakers can kind of get through this trade deadline and maybe Giannis doesn't go anywhere, then they could potentially get into the sweepstakes for Giannis Antetokounmpo in the summer. We'll see what happens. But that would be part of the reasons why the Lakers aren't making a move. So just to answer this question here, Nico effed it all up. I mean, that's why when people say, like when people actually criticize Luka, and you could criticize Luka, there's definitely space to criticize him. He's not perfect. He's definitely has his deficiencies on the defensive side. There's areas of his game where it's like, yeah, he could be a lot better in this area or that area, whatever the case is. But don't get it twisted. Luka Doncic is an absolute killer. And what the Milwaukee Bucks are trying to do right now with Giannis, which, by the way, I think they should have done this last summer and not waited till this deadline. And if it keeps going, then wait till the upcoming deadline or wait till the summer again. They're too late on this already. They should have traded Giannis and not have stretched Dame and everything else. But that's why when I hear people say, well, Luka's you can't win you a championship. It's not that great. This, that, whatever the case is. Fine. Maybe you don't believe in Luka. It's no big deal. By the way, I don't know if you don't think Luka can win an NBA championship. I don't know what you want me to tell you, but that's a different conversation. But at least if you're going to trade Luka, put him up in the open market. That's why I think what made this trade, as idiotic as it already was, because you were talking about trading literally one of the top 5 players in the NBA, you did a hush-hush deal where no other teams can get involved. What if the Boston Celtics were going to give you Jaylen Brown? What if again, I'm just naming off players. What if the Phoenix Suns were like Devin Booker and who else do you want? What if there were other squads out there that had not just, amazing talent, but it was on par with Luka's age, and it was a player that doesn't have this injury history like Anthony Davis. So this one, Nico effed it all up. Oh, no question about it. I remember when we were talking about Nico Harrison, once he got fired, it's like, hey, is this guy ever going to get a job again in a front office? And by the way, Nico Harrison was actually known for doing a damn good job for the Dallas Mavericks up to that point, getting PJ Washington, signing Kyrie Irving when it wasn't a popular move, getting to the NBA Finals. Then they blew it all up. What if they cut AD, sign back veteran minimum? I'll take him. AD's going to be miserable. I get it. I understand that. Marvin Bagley picked ahead of Luka. Did you guys see there was a stat yesterday of like the top 13, 14 players that got in the year Trae Young, Luka, all these guys that got drafted, all these players ended up getting traded. Every single one of these players have got traded. Kind of a crazy stat to see. Who else is on that? DeAndre Ayton's on that list. Garland on that list. I think Garland might have been one of the other players that was on that list. AD and Trae not even playing. That's the problem. I mean, the biggest problem more than anything else is, do you have any healthy players? That's the biggest issue. Wizards will be nice next year. Do you think so? I don't know. I don't think there's a guarantee for that. I mean, at least the Wizards are doing something, but I don't think anybody's kind of standing around saying to themselves, watch out for the Washington Wizards. Maybe they will be nice. Maybe they won't be healthy. I think this is what we're talking about. When you look at the 2018 draft, I think every player is now on different teams than who drafted them. Yeah, I saw that yesterday. Somebody had put it out on Twitter, and it was kind of mind-boggling to see because you never see something like that. It just shows you that guys are being kind of shopped around like you're at a grocery store. Yeah, I'll take that. I'll take that as well. It's like, all right. SAR and AD is going to block everything down low. Guys, I just go back to the same thing. The only thing I say is got to be healthy. Got to be healthy. So here's some other things that, you can keep in mind. I got other people here saying, thank you, Nico. By the way, I don't know about that. I don't know. Luka's a top 5 player in the NBA. I don't know. I don't think there's any guarantee that wouldn't happen. And again, I'm just naming names. The point is not to trade Luka for Jaylen Brown or Jaylen Brown for Luka. The point is open it to the at least have an open market where teams can make bids on a 25-year-old at the time who's one of the top 5 players in the league. There ain't a team out there that wouldn't say, Luka's in the open market. Can we at least just try to have a conversation about it? That's the point that I'm making more than anything else. More than anything else, I think that's the thing that sticks with me most. Okay, I'll read a couple more of these comments here, and then I'm gonna, that's all I wanted to do. I just wanted to kind of come on here, give my initial reaction to the trade, and go from there. But this is definitely one of those things where it just kind of it put it all in full circle. Yeah, I'm looking on here. Mark Stein, they're going live on this Dallas Mavs that they do. The Mavericks are trading Anthony Davis to Washington. League source say the Mavs will now have 2 first-round picks in June, their own lottery pick, and a late selection from the trade, and escape luxury tax purgatory by also moving off Jaden Hardy and D'Angelo Russell. By the way, how about the D-Lo chat? I mean, I used to have those that defend D'Angelo Russell, and I'm like, this is what you're holding on to? D'Angelo Russell? Yeah, I don't know. That one I think is over. All right, people asking if this is live. It is not live. No, this is actually, I recorded this a month ago. So is this live or am I faded? You're faded, and I recorded this a month ago. All right. I appreciate you guys being here. Hey, listen, if anything else goes down, and it's some kind of Laker-centric or something like that, or if Giannis gets traded, then I will. I'll do this again. If not, we're going to wait till the morning and come back and, obviously give ourselves another opportunity to have more conversations. Last thing I'll say is if you have yet to subscribe to the channel, it's not live, guys. It's about, it was about a month ago. If you've yet to subscribe to the channel, please subscribe. I'm back on tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. Looking forward to that. I'm probably going to do a morning show and an afternoon show tomorrow just because it will be after the trade deadline. Thank you for being here. And thank you for coming on. Hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day. And please subscribe to the channel if you've yet to subscribe.